Hey, what's going on, Patriots Nation? Welcome to another edition of the Cans Pats Talk Patriots podcast. Appreciate all y'all joining me tonight. We are talking with a special guest, NBC Sports Boston, a good friend of mine, man, big time Patriots reporter. I met Tom Curran earlier this year at the Super Bowl at Radio Row. Had a good conversation with him. Let Tom, man. Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Good, buddy. It's good to see you again. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. It was great to see you earlier this year at the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. I'm glad that you were able to get over there, and it's great to be on today. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Renting to you and Phil Perry, man. I didn't realize Phil Perry was so bucked up.
He's a big kid. He's actually a pretty good friggin' athlete. He was a good athlete in high school. Big kid. Actually still works out a lot. So, yeah, he's not small.
I see, man. Let's go ahead and hop into it, man. First off, y'all make sure y'all hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and make sure you are subscribed to the Kansas Pats Talk YouTube. This show is powered by the Sportsline Media. Tom Curran, a lot of change for the Patriots. Also, I think last time we talked, Maye had just gotten fired or whatnot. Mike Vrabel, what have you noticed so far about his presence and the culture he's going to bring? Like, I just feel like it just feels different this year. It feels very different. I'm getting a lot of reports and stuff. I mean, I've been seeing you on WEI. You seem very optimistic. My buddy Greg Bedard, I had him on a few months back. He seems optimistic. I mean, what is it? Is it just? Are we overdoing it, or are you with it?
Yeah, we do have a tendency to overdo it. It's funny because Phil and I were talking about this a few weeks ago because I was trying to establish what's real about the quote unquote vibe change or the optimism, because we always have it in the off season because everything good happens. You sign new free agents, you bring in new draft picks. The guys who got away, you can live without. The guys who got in were exactly what you needed. And I even remember in 2022, Phil and I did a video on the first day of training camp, and we're like, hey, it looks different out there today. Mac in his second year, he looks terrific. Boy, they look like they have a purpose. And that didn't go so good. So to me, it is kind of our MO as fans, as media members, but I believe it's different and more amplified and more real this year because of the fact that it is a concrete and tangible difference in going from Mayo, who was in his first year as head coach, had a cobbled together coaching staff that he wasn't familiar with, had an offensive coordinator he didn't know, had a wide receivers coach who'd never coached wide receivers, and a coach who was out, now back in, and understands all the things that he wants to do in this go-round. You know, whether it's Belichick or Mike Shanahan or Pete Carroll, we can go down the list of great coaches who were out of the game after their first misstep, then came back and were different and better coaches the second time.
Vrabel brings back Josh McDaniels. He has Terrell Williams as defense coordinator. Between McDaniels and Terrell Williams and Hart, I hope everything's all right. But I hope he be ready for camp this week. Mm-hmm. Which coordinator do you think will have the biggest impact on this team for the 2025 season? I think it's going to be Josh McDaniels with Drake Maye. That's what I think.
Yeah, I do too. And I actually just finished doing a pre-camp column talking about who has the most heat on them. And I started off, I went with Maye, Vrabel, Robert Kraft, McDaniels, then Terrell Williams after McDaniels. Actually, I think after Stephon Diggs too, because McDaniels is a known entity. McDaniels is coming in as somebody who is one of the most decorated and successful offensive coordinators in the history of the game. Regardless of what has happened as a head coach, you can't argue with the results that he had and the way that he was able to morph offenses, whether it was with Brady, whether it was periods with Jimmy Garoppolo, whether it was with Cam Newton to get a season out of that team, whether it was in 2018, whether it was with Mac Jones. He's been very good at that. So now he has a third overall pick in Drake Maye with a litany of offensive and athletic skills that all the other guys haven't had. So to me, you have Josh coming in to mold that piece of clay in the way that hopefully takes advantage of Maye's skills. So to me, it's the impact should be more significant with Josh.
With the draft just happened in April. So Kyle Williams, Travion Henderson, the number 3 overall pick, Will Campbell. I like the pieces that kind of go on the radar that haven't really been talked about a lot on defense. Farmer, and I love Braden Swinson. I think he can be a better Josh Uche. We're gonna get to somebody else that's gonna kind of remind you of Uche a little bit, Clavion Chason. But I think that Braden Swinson, during spring practices, you don't really get to see a lot from the offensive line and defensive line, because not the trenches or even the run and because it's not, it's not a physical aspect of the offseason yet. What do you think they did enough this offseason to support the offense and Drake May?
On offense or on defense? With the defensive
on offense mainly, yeah. Start with the offense.
They tried, man. See, that's the problem. Is as much as the hope is that Will Campbell ends up being worth the pick at number 4 overall, it's always worth remembering that was not what they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to sign Ronnie Stanley. That was their first option. And a wide receiver, they wanted Chris Godwin. That was their plan A. Campbell is plan B. That doesn't mean he's, seconds or shouldn't be able to pan out, maybe even in the end be better than Ronnie Stanley would have been. You don't know with an injury history. Ronnie Stanley's had a few over the years. Maybe Campbell will be better, but that was not the route the Patriots wanted to adopt. So their hands were tied in some regards. Both the guys that they wanted to add on offense, Flat did not want to come here. And people talk about, well, why not get Ayuk or A.J. Brown or Calvin Ridley or any number. Guys don't want to play for the Patriots until they can tell the Patriots are stable again. And the Patriots have been as unstable as any team in the league. That includes the Raiders. That includes the Jets. That includes the New York Giants over the last few years. That includes Carolina. They're unstable. Mm-hmm. Now stability has come back into the building, and maybe they can change that. But no, I don't think that I think they did enough to help him. I don't think that they did enough to attach a rocket to his back and have him become a top 10 quarterback.
If they would have signed Ronnie Stanley, who do you think that number 3 overall pick would have been? You think they probably, Travis Hunter would have been gone. I mean, the 4th overall pick. Hunter would have been gone.
I love this conversation. We started getting into this the other night out of the blue. Say they didn't do that, they would have probably tried to trade down. That would be my guess. Trade down.
What if they couldn't trade that? I like that.
Trade down, take Ashton Genty. Or take my guy, the tight end.
The tight end out of Penn State.
Who I've now see, this is what happens in 3 months' time. What was that bastard's name?
I'm trying to think of his name. Now, give me
Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren.
That's what I would have liked to.
And I was on that ledge with you. Everybody thought we were crazy for saying. I was like, nah, I'm with Tom on that. I think they should go Tyler Warren. I was one of the only people that was with you on that.
Thank you, Kendall. See,
I just did.
We're visionaries.
So yeah, I think it would have been Tyler Warren. Moving on, Kyle Williams. I'm talking about Kyle Williams.
Sure.
I haven't really seen you do a lot of talk on him. I know you love your guy Efton Chisholm. I like him too. I like that name too. With a name like that, he better be able to play ball. Be able to play. Kyle Williams, you've been out there at spring practice. What have you really seen from him? I know Phil likes him, and I think Greg Bedard said he's seen a lot from him during the spring practices. But the pass come on this week, so we're gonna get to see if Efton Chisholm and Kyle Williams and some of these other receivers, if they're gonna be able to separate themselves.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Maybe I have PTSD from all the times that I've seen wide receivers come in and not perform. I mean, there were times I saw Tyquan Thornton make plays in his rookie training camp. I said, "Holy crap, he's a good outside receiver. He can make plays." Obviously, it did not work. Jalen Polk, I would watch practices and say, that's pretty good, man. There's something you can work with there. Even moments when N'Keal Harry had his first training camp and he got hurt, but in the first few weeks he was all right. Something is happening when the pads come on to the guys they select in terms of being able to perform. So to me, I'm watching Kyle Williams during the spring practices, and he was fine. But remember, he's a 3rd round pick. That's the thing is, Thornton was a 2nd round pick. Harry was a 1st round pick. This guy went later. Chisholm is quicker. Chisholm is faster in and out of his breaks. He's not going to be straight line faster. He's not going to be a down the field receiver, which Kyle Williams is supposed to be, but he's small to be a down the field receiver. He's not a tall kid. So to me, he feels a little miscast as a boundary guy. And I think that Josh Maye, when you get to this age, Kendall, you're going to find out. It's just a jumble of friggin' names that are flying around in your head. And sometimes one just hits and falls out. And you're like, it's not Josh Maye. It's Drake Maye. He needs a tall outside receiver. He doesn't really have one yet. Kyle Williams might be able to fit the bill, but I'm not let's do this. How's this? If he catches 50 balls for 600 yards, you should set off the confetti cannon. That
I
would
was
be
going to say, I was thinking, I was doing my shot. I said, for year one for Cal Williams, I would have said, if he give me 40 catches and about 400 to 500 yards, I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, 10, 11, 12 yards per catch. And that's usually what outside receivers kind of get. You know, you can probably see the opportunity. They're going to be a run heavier team. I'm really fascinated. We're going to spend a lot of time during camp, Kendall, watching the wide receivers specifically, along with watching Maye and just watching that competition, because Kayshon Boutte isn't a guy who can't play. Jalen Polk should be a guy who can play.
I love Polk. I think Polk's going to bounce back this year.
He should be able to. It's all in his hands and perhaps all in his head. I think he talked himself into playing like a guy who just was not himself throughout the year. So I'm going to be fascinated to see how
I was watching him doing some warm up. He looks smooth and like now he don't have pads on or whatnot, but he looks smooth and he looks like he got quicker now. It might have just, I thought it was just me, but he looks like he got quicker.
I agreed. And I'm shaking my head because I look over there and he's on the field working by himself because he was coming back from a shoulder injury. And I'm looking like, why does he look so friggin' good? And why isn't there anything? And I'm going to pat myself on the back. I'm pretty good at being able to watch guys and project how they might play. I'm pretty good at that. And I can tell a guy in their movements, and it does not add up. It does not add up. So I think you're right. There's opportunity there. There was times with N'Keal Harry, like it's not working. You could see it. But with Polk, the change of direction, the hands, what we imagined would be the physical toughness. And I don't want to question the guy's physical toughness, but he is slight. And he got beat a few times at the point of attack. That's the hard thing about this too, Kendall. We're going to be writing on this team. They have a good secondary. So as we write on this team and talk about the wide receivers who have shit camps, they're going to be getting shut down regularly by good corners.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, they're going up against a good defense, so you really can't judge them, but we're going to see. It's going to be – I can't wait to see the one-on-ones. And speaking of one-on-one, Stephon Diggs, he's looked pretty good this offseason. He had the incident on the boat or whatnot. We ain't going to get into that. But he wasn't put on an initial PUP list. Now, a lot of people that you see on Twitter are like, okay, he's going to be a full participant. It doesn't mean he's going to be participating in one-on-ones later on this week. But do you expect him to be a full participant this week, given that he wasn't put on the PUP list?
Seems to be trending that way. I couldn't make a prediction. I'm as curious as you are. I haven't, reached out to find out. We'll find out soon enough. One interesting thing to remember, I'm just saying this for your viewers and listeners as they get ready to watch this. The interesting thing about camp here, and you'll remember this too, this first 4 days, nothing. It's basically an extension of mini camp. So he might be out there running around in the next few days when they're not hitting, and it's still kind of like passing camp. What will be telling is how much he participates next week when they do start to put the pads on and participate normally with some real scrimmages and some real contact. But I'm curious to see too. Next week will be the time that really tells the tale.
I think he's going to help this wide receiver core a lot because I think even if he's Houston, Texas, Stephon Diggs, because he was on track for 1,000 yards last year. Yep. That Kayshon Boutte gets the number 2, probably corner there. I love Pop Douglas. I actually think if he was on a better team, he'd get more notoriety around the league. I actually like you put him in Cincinnati between Chase and Higgins. Pop Douglas could put up some numbers. I think so. I think he's going to help out the other wide receivers.
I agree. I think that Diggs' influence and professionalism will help out the other wide receivers too. Look, Kendrick Bourne's a veteran. He's a good player. He's got a tremendous personality. He's always upbeat. But I don't think that he is one who's going to be chewing on people's hindquarters if they're not doing well. And he's so upbeat, that's out of character. They do need an edge. Julian Edelman brought an edge to that wide receiver room. Jacoby Myers even brought an edge to that wide receiver room just with the way he worked. So Diggs is a 5th-round pick. That's important to remember, I think, when you look at this group. You got Polk, who's a 2nd-round pick. Baker's a 4th-round pick. Kyle Williams a 3rd-round pick. You got guys who think that, as Polk said, I got the best hands in the league, and all he did was drop 40% of the passes that went to him last year. So, to me, Diggs' influence should be even though he can be a pain in the ass on the sidelines during games, as we've seen, his influence should be significant, I think, on making these guys say, you got the world in your hands right here. You're playing with a top-tier quarterback. You have a genius offensive coordinator, and you guys can't get your stuff straight. What are you doing?
A couple more times before we let you go. Let's move into the defense. How improved do you think the defense is going to be? I think they're a little. I'm curious to see the depth at edge. I like Chase on, but he's kind of like a journeyman at this point. He's on his third team. Let's see. Now he came on late last year for the Raiders. Like we just talked about, Braden Swenson, Josh Farmer. They paid Milton Williams a lot of money. Barmore, I think he's healthy now. He's back. Do not sleep on Harold Landry. He put up some good numbers last year in Tennessee. Missing out Keon White. I think this is a big year for Keon White. What are your expectations for that defensive front?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much could and should up on that front. Harold Landry, if you watch the breakdown of him in Tennessee and just watch how he plays, he's so friggin' fast off the ball. Now, he does work inside a lot. He's not an edge setter because he's a little smaller, but he should be what Uche you kind of hoped would be, a guy who gets there regularly. Barmore is probably one of the most physically powerful players in the league on the defensive line. Milton Williams, the highest paid player in the history of the New England Patriots. Keon White had every reason he could have been a first-round pick, slipped to the second round. Belichick would have liked to have taken him in the first round, but he took Christian Gonzalez, which ended up being a boon. So you got a lot of untapped potential there. They could be unbelievable. If they're not, that's when the focus will go on Terrell Williams, and that's when the focus will go on the defensive front and say, why not? They're spending an incredible amount of money. I do have concerns on the depth at linebacker. And Phil has expressed concern, and I think it's smart, about the ability to stop the run. So this league is always cyclical, and they seem to be moving back to taking advantage of mismatches in the box and up front. They have some very light linebackers. They have Milton Williams on the interior now, who's not been a guy who plays on the later, who's not seen as a run-stuffing guy necessarily at his weight. So there should be some, at least, intrigue as to whether or not they'll be improved against the run. But, Kendall, they were the worst team in the NFL in sacks per pass attempt.
Yep.
You can't have that. You can't have an all-pro cornerback there having to cover for 7 seconds because you can't sniff the quarterback. So that hopefully changes.
Yeah, real good, Tom. Moving on to Drake Maye. Can't believe we've been on about 20 minutes, haven't even talked about Drake Maye yet.
I love it.
What are your expectations for Drake Maye?
It's good to go in depth.
Right. What are your expectations for Drake Maye? I mean, second year, I don't think he's going to get the slack that he got last year. Somebody they give him a pat on the butt last year. It's okay. You turn the ball over. The staff is bad. I mean, the coaching staff is bad. You don't have the weapons. No offensive line. This year, I think is a lot of pressure on Maye to perform and perform well. No, he don't have to take the team to the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, nothing like that. But I think we'll get to the season prediction in a minute, but I think it's a lot of pressure on him. Cut down the turnovers, control the game and whatnot, and just play smart and most importantly, stay healthy. Just protect yourself. What do you think about Drake Maye in this 2025 season?
I agree with all of that. I think that you have to look at Drake Maye as trying to be never the reason they lose a game. Mm-hmm. Never. You have to look at him as a guy who has to be close to 2-to-1 touchdown interception. You're going to have some tip balls in there that can skew the numbers, but generally speaking, 2-to-1 touchdown to interception. He doesn't have enough weapons where he's going to be a 30 touchdown guy. That's a good year. But I would say if he's 25-12, 28-14, that's great. He should throw for 3,500. He should run for 600. He should know what he wants to do with the line of scrimmage. There shouldn't be any false starts. There shouldn't be any substitution issues, delays of game. And those things are, I guarantee you, going to happen. He's a second-year player. He's a young player. He still is not as good right now, or at least not as polished as Tom Brady was going into his second year. I don't care what Drake Maye's draft ranking was. Tom Brady had 4 years at Michigan. He beat out guys left and right. Drake Maye had 2 years in North Carolina. He went 7-4 in his second year there. You've talked about, the limitations that you saw with Drake Maye when you watched him down there. So to me, you have to expect improvement, but I would not be surprised if there is a lot of time spent this year on Mondays saying, Yeah, I thought he'd be better than this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I just think people might be crazy if they think they're going to see some Jaden Daniels level improvement. This team
Yeah.
kind of stinks
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. I think they're better than last year, but the bar's so low though. I
Yes,
definitely think they're better. And we ain't, I mean, you guys won't really know till you get out there for count, but I think they're better than last year. I don't think I want them to do this year. Can they finally beat Miami? Like, can
I
you
agreed. Is this ridiculous?
like, come on. I don't care. I don't care if they get swept by the Jets and the Bills this year. Just please beat Miami.
I agree. I agree. It's gone on too long. It's gone on too long.
Hey, last one, Tom, before we get you out. What's your season prediction? Give me this is a two-part question now before we get you out here for the day. Give me a one standout play on offense and defense, and then the second part of it is what's your season prediction, your record prediction?
I'm gonna go 9-8.
Okay.
9-8. Offensive standout. I am gonna go with Stephon Diggs.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna go with Stephon Diggs having
I'm
a
going
Stephon
Pop
Diggs
Douglas.
season. All right, that's fine. And I think that Josh McDaniels likes Douglas and would like to see him be a hub of the offense. So I'm going to go with Diggs having a Diggs-like season, over 1,000 yards. And I would like to say that defensively, the standout is going to be Keon White. I think there's too much intelligence, too much physical talent, too much potential there to go untapped. So I'm going to say Keon White and Stephon Diggs are going to be the two standouts. How's that?
Keon White, Stephon. And you see Diggs doing that first year off the ACL?
Hey, I said what I said.
Okay. So you got the guys 9-8 this year.
9-8.
Hey, that's Tom Curran for NBC Sports Boston. I appreciate it, man. Tom, we got to hook up again, man. Good luck this season and covering the team. I hope they can get to the playoffs, but we'll see. I'll be happy with 8 wins. I would.
Just be in the mix after Thanksgiving, please.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Tom, appreciate it, man.
All right. Take care, bud.
Yes, sir. That's Tom Curran, everybody, from NBC Sports Boston. I appreciate all y'all. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure you are sharing the content, and make sure y'all subscribe to the Ken's Pats Talk YouTube. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.